We demand 100% renewable energy, and we need that for all of the people, 100%.
My name is Desmond Batts. I'm a Master's of Environmental Science candidate at University of New Haven. I sit on the executive committee of the Sierra Club. I'm an activist and an organizer and a card-carrying member of the Black community since 1977. First of all, I want to thank everyone for coming out here. I want to thank 350 Connecticut and the Sierra Club for having me out here. And today I want to talk to you a little bit, very briefly, about environmental justice. Now, for you who don't know what environmental justice is, it goes a little something like this. Environmental justice means that no community should be overburdened with environmental burdens and not receive the environmental benefits. But those of us who live in environmental communities, we see firsthand that we are on the front lines. We are the canaries in the coal mines, and we are disproportionately affected by climate change. When people in Hartford look out their front doors, they don't see beautiful scenery and parks. They don't see happy families playing. They don't see self-actualized, self-aware people planning their future. But I tell you what they do see. They see garbage. They see abandoned buildings. They see cold, hard streets, colder politics, and colder policies. They don't see open spaces. They see cracks in sidewalks where green grass fights in vain to be noticed. They see empty dope bags. They see crack vials instead of smiles and dreams being fulfilled. They see violence, unemployment, and they suffering and chaos. So why would they step out of their homes to take a walk or to play a game when that walk or that game could very well end in harm for them? You know, there's a big misconception about the Black community that we don't care about the environment. We don't care about climate change. And that's couldn't be further from the truth. The truth is that we do care about climate change, but we care about feeding our kids. We care about having a place to live. We care about clothes on our backs before that. And maybe a few more concerns, and then comes climate change. But I tell you what, when we look at the communities of color, climate change is a very small fish. But when the effects of climate change come back around, that big fish becomes a ravenous beast. It is a shark that will devour not only our neighborhoods, but yours as well. I tell you, thank you. I tell you right now, today is not a time for talk. Today is a time for change. It is a time for action. And I leave it up to you. It is a time for action. So I'll be very brief, and I'll leave you with one of my favorite quotes by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. He says, "A threat to justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." Let's stand to fight.
My name is Bernardo McLaughlin. I'm a member of a group here in Connecticut called Capitalism versus the Climate. On Monday, I locked myself to a piece of equipment in eastern Connecticut at a work site of Spectra Energy, which is expanding their gas pipeline in order to transfer more fracking extracted gas through our backyards. I did it because I was inspired by the strategy that led to the victory against the Keystone XL pipeline, one of the first major victories we've had recently against climate chaos. And that strategy has to be adopted and repeated. And I came here today to do my part to upset the land of steady habits. Earlier this year, Connecticut had one of its first significant real days of direct action in recent memory. Here in my city, Hartford, where those of us who were part of the Hartford 17 shut down one of the main traffic arteries that's used by corporate commuters to flee our city before the sun goes down. And we did it to send a message that if the wealthy and the powerful don't think that Black Lives Matter, then we'll assert that business as usual doesn't matter. And what we accomplished that day, that the elite of Greater Hartford were put on notice that our neighbors will not be brutalized without consequences. And we show that Connecticut is not immune to the radical, powerful spirit that's sweeping the globe today. We can take direct action and make our power felt if we so choose. And I'll take it a step further and argue that we don't have a choice, that the political establishment has already made that choice for us when it demonstrated to us that flooded neighborhoods in New York and New Orleans were acceptable losses as long as their penthouses stayed above water. That choice was made for us as Obama signed off on the southern leg of the Keystone XL pipeline, and as he presided over a large-scale federal campaign of undermining climate justice through the state repression of our fellow activists across the country. It is clear that where the line has been drawn, and we have not been the ones to draw it. I really hate going to jail. A lot. Yes. And I hate being on the receiving end of the police state that black and brown communities endure every day at a much greater scale. But most of all, I hate feeling powerless while the world goes to hell. And what I learned on Monday was that you have as much power as you're willing to exercise. First, the company man tried to convince me that I wasn't impacting work, and then complained that I was being disruptive, and then tried to convince me I was being selfish. And then I had a state trooper telling me how I should protest, and what my goal should be, and how I'm a hypocrite because I drive a car. And I know that if what I did didn't matter, they wouldn't have said a word to me. Likewise, when we're told to work inside the system, to cultivate good relationships with politicians who are bought and sold by the fossil fuels industry, to be respectable and law-abiding, we're being convinced that we're powerless. And what I can tell you for sure, not only as a student of history, but also as a labor movement activist and a steward with my union, is that when we're organized and been brought to the point we've been pushed to, people like us are the most powerful force on the planet. There are a few things I want to ask of you. Like I mentioned before, I'm a union activist, and if there are any other union people here or in your circles, we've got to do better. Because not only were the Spectra workers at the site I was arrested at union members, they also helped the cops cut me out of my lock. And that's unacceptable. We need to work together to turn the labor movement around and put it on the side of history that it ought to be on. So please come talk to us at Capitalism versus the Climate over here. I also want you to consider what it means for us to take care of each other while we're fighting, like with Occupy Sandy relief effort after hurricane hit New York in 2012. This next week, we're going to be dealing with the consequences of another climate catastrophe that has in part to do with the Syrian civil war and its consequences there. And we're going to be back here at the Capitol at 10 a.m. next week to demonstrate our solidarity against xenophobia and hatred against Syrian refugees. So please come back here at 10 a.m. next week. Thank
you. Well, that was awesome. So I want to thank you all for coming here today. This is great to see all your beautiful faces here. It's talking about clean energy, the way to go with our state. We can do it. We know that it's technically possible. The Solution Project tells us every state can do it. I want Connecticut to be the first. I want us to be the leaders in clean energy. Let's get off the pipelines. Let's get off the coal. Let's get off the gas and the oil. We don't need it anymore. We have come to a point in our society where we don't have to burn crap anymore to get energy. So I'm here with 350 Connecticut. We want transition for all of our workers, all of our people to clean energy. I want to see solar panels on that building. I want to see a windmill over there. I want to see our rivers creating energy for us so that we can not have to buy gas anymore and not have to build these stupid pipelines that endangers our community. We know it can be done. Aspen, Colorado's done it. Greensburg, Kansas has done it. Burlington, Vermont has done it. We can do it in Connecticut. Now, all we need is legislators and to do what we're here demanding, and the fact that you were here is great. We stopped Keystone. Don't let anyone tell you it's economics. Don't let anyone tell you it's politics. It's us right here that did it, and we can do it again. We can make our society better with clean energy, and we can make it fairer, we can make it cleaner, where we can breathe the air, we can be outside, and we can basically make our society better by going to clean energy. And I want you to come to as many of these events as you can. Support 350 Connecticut, support the Sierra Club, support Capitalism versus the Climate, and come to December 12th in Boston, where we're going to have a big New England regional demonstration, because if we can do it here in Connecticut, we can do it in Massachusetts, we can do it in Vermont, and we're better if we do it together, just as we're better if we're doing it together. Please sign up for our email list, donate some money so we can afford a bus to bring people there, and thank you for coming today, and keep fighting.
That was Ben Martin of 350 Connecticut. Now we're going to have some music. Sam King.
I will need the microphone.
Do it.
Who likes to sing? I like to sing too, but I woke up this morning with this serious throat thing, so I'm going to need your help, all right? And I'm glad I have the microphone too. So we're going to do an adaptation of a great old Irish traditional song called The Wild Rover. Anybody familiar with that song? Yeah. So this is what I'm going to need your help with. This is the chorus. Well, it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no more. Will we build a new pipeline? No, never, no more. All right, let me hear you guys say it.
And it's
No, nay, never. What? Nay, never, no more. Will I build a new pipeline? No, never, no more. Pretty good, pretty good. We're gonna need to do a little louder though. And if you want to get really good with it, you can do a little clap thing in between. So it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more. All right, cool. So I got some words here. We're gonna sing the words, and every fourth line, we're gonna go into the chorus. All right? I'll cue you guys in. Well, we've built us some pipelines for many a year, from the eastern sunrise to the western frontier. But now we are seeing what will be in store. If we keep building pipelines, we will be no more, and it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more. Will we build a new pipeline? No, never, no more. So I went down to Hartford to see if I could find someone in the capital with a good sense of mind. I asked them to change, they answered me nay. A natural gas pipeline, we'll have it stay, but it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more. Will we build a new pipeline? No, never, no more. I went back to my home to find some more friends, and returned in a rally to the capital again. In signs and in speeches we said no more gas. We have the solution, so get off your ass, for it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more. Will we build a new pipeline? No, never, no more. Nice job, everybody. One more. And we will keep fighting until we have won. Renewable energy for everyone. Black, white, young, old, queer, straight, and rich, poor. We will never build a new pipeline no more, for it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more. Will we build a new pipeline? No, never, no more.
Right, that's really hard to follow. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I can just feel all the electricity. It's overwhelming, but it's very empowering. So my name is Alberto Cifuentes Jr. I'm going to speak in two roles. I'm going to speak as an organizer of Hartford Action. Hopefully many of you have heard of Hartford Action. It is a criminal justice reform grassroots team that was organized in late last year, and its mission is to empower everyday people, especially the people of Hartford, to advocate for progressive policy changes regarding criminal justice reform, regarding issues such as police brutality, mass incarceration, racial injustice in our criminal justice system, and to also improve the relationship between police officers, between law enforcement and the community, so we can live harmoniously and safely together. And we've been allied with this issue for some time now, and our support has only grown over the last couple of months. And I'm very happy to say that we will continue endorsing this cause. We will continue supporting many other organizations like 350. The Sierra Club, and so many organizations that are fighting for renewable energy. So thank you so much for standing by. I know many of you are either acting as individuals or are acting as part of other organizations that have come up here and spoken. So thank you again for your support. But I'm also going to speak as a social worker, as a community social worker. Thank you. And as an individual who has really been impacted by this issue personally. I started off as an LGBTQ rights activist, as an activist that fought, thank you, for the rights and equality of gender and sexual minorities. But Audre Lorde, I admire her greatly. She's one of the more notable LGBT rights activists. She said, we're not single issue people, we don't live single issue lives. So therefore we need to care about issues like climate change or socioeconomic injustice or racial injustice. We need to include these in our agenda as part of a broader human rights agenda. And that wasn't clear to me until I met other social workers and other activists such as yourselves who really blew my mind in terms of how climate change and how we needed to do something about this, that the work that we were doing could only happen if we had the support from many, many others. So I'm here to say I'm going to do everything that I can, both within Hartford Action and personally, to increase support amongst a lot of young people, amongst people of color. Desmond is right. People of color do care about these issues. I identify as a people of color. I'm Latino. I care about these issues, but often these are very hard to reflect on or to even act on when you're also caring about food, water, shelter, those most basic needs. So we need to really work together and ally together to make sure that these are part of a broader human rights agenda. And I really want to thank you for not only inspiring me, but really transforming the way that I do my sense of activism and my advocacy. And if anything, I'm going to continue doing this work knowing that I'm allied with such wonderful people who have really helped me realize that this is something that it's an ongoing struggle, but it's something that we can work on together, and it's something that we can win together as well. So thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I'm Martha Klein with the Sierra Club. In addition to volunteering with the Sierra Club, I'm a nurse with a background in public health. So I'm going to speak about health effects from fracking and frack gas pipelines. I think this is a little bit absurd because you guys are definitely the definition of the converted, but I'm just going to run through it really quickly. I'd also like to say thank you to all the groups who organized this, 350 Connecticut, Sierra Club, Hartford Action, everybody else, thank you so much. And don't forget, before you leave today, come over to the table here, make sure you sign the letter to the governor. The whole point here is we're letting Governor Malloy know that this energy policy stinks. We don't like it. We definitely need to change to 100% renewable sooner rather than later. So everybody, before you leave, sign the letter. We're going to deliver them either by mail or maybe in person to Governor Malloy, and we'll be letting everyone know about that. In addition, I want to say that you're all already involved in this movement, obviously working on with what you're working on, but let's make sure that we have your email. We've got a combined email list of 350 and Sierra Club. So just sign there if you're not already on the frack gas Google group list and can participate in that with us. Okay, fracking is a problem for health and the environment. So studies have shown that fracking causes earthquakes. That's actually something you can now say. A study in Oklahoma was done, and it showed that the re-injection of the dirty fracking wastewater back into Earth increased the incidence of earthquakes by 2,900%. It was definitely related to the fracking. It's also been demonstrated that living within a mile of a fracking well causes fetal death and a lot of other problems. Okay, now let's talk about the unknowns, or the less well-knowns. The EPA had released in June a study saying that fracking doesn't cause systematic harm to drinking water, whatever that word means. But just on Thursday, the science advisory body of the EPA released a report saying that that's wrong, and that you can't say that there isn't systematic damage to the well when your data is useless and it's unreliable. So yeah, fracking causes problems. Well, what about us here? We're not going to be fracked, but we're getting all that fracking gas, and we'll wind up with the fracking waste. How is that going to affect us? Badly. So it's an absolute demonstrable fact that living within a certain distance of compressor station causes adverse health effects. I'm going to run through these real quickly in the interest of time. Asthma, headaches, nosebleeds, sinus problems, throat irritation. Furthermore, there's something that comes out of compressor stations called particulate matter. The safe EPA limit for that is about 12 micrograms per meter squared, and when they did a study around a compressor station, a brand new compressor station, state-of-the-art technology in Minnesink, New York, it turned out that the particulate matter was greater than 426 micrograms per meter squared. That is to say, way over the safe and allowable limit. It's been found that the air contaminants in rural areas near compressor station is worse than in New York City. The chemicals associated with compressor stations, they cause cancer, all different kinds of cancer. I'm not going to get into the specifics. What about pipelines themselves? Well, according to the Pipeline Hazardous Material and Safety Administration of the U.S. Department of Transportation, on average in the United States of America, 200 barrels of hazardous fluid are spilling every day. Furthermore, according to the International Energy Agency, a switch from coal to gas will raise the global temperature by 3.5 degrees centigrade. That means the end of life on the planet as we know it. We can't convert from coal to gas. We got to get off coal, off gas, stop all the infrastructure. Governor Malloy, your energy policy is fracked. Make sure to sign up over here. Thank you, and we love you.
John, I need you. John.
Microphone to speak.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Again, thank you for coming. My name is Diane Lentakis. I'm on the steering committee of 350CT. Can you all hear me? And I'm also on the executive committee of the Sierra Club in Connecticut. I'm going to speak on the Bridgeport Harbor Station. I'd like a raise of hands to know how many people realize that we still have coal in Connecticut. Can you raise your hands? That's not a substantial amount of people. We do have coal in Connecticut still. Bridgeport Harbor Station's coal-fired plant was built in the 1960s. It is a peaking plant. For those of you who don't know what a peaking plant is, it means that it operates during periods of peak demand. For instance, very cold winter days or very hot summer days. According to DEEP, State's Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, the Unit 3 can generate up to 410 megawatts of power, but that's only if it's fully powered up. In 2014, the plant emitted 1 million tons of carbon dioxide, more than 2 million pounds of sulfur dioxide, and more than 1 million pounds of nitrogen oxides. Not only does this coal-fired power plant pollute the air, it substantially degrades the quality of the water in Bridgeport Harbor, with adverse effects on marine life. Can you only imagine this poor harbor there? Coal generates 44% of our country's electricity and is the biggest air polluter in the United States. According to the Physicians for Social Responsibility, coal plants affect all major body organs, systems, and contribute to 4 of the 5 leading causes of death in the United States: heart disease, cancer, stroke, and chronic respiratory diseases such as asthma. The American Lung Association in its 2014 State of the Air report listed Fairfield County, listen to this one, Fairfield County in the 25 most ozone polluted counties in the United States. The emissions from the coal power plant contributed to this poor ranking. Children in Bridgeport are 10 times more likely to die from an asthma attack than children from other parts of Connecticut. It is important to note that Bridgeport Harbor Station is located in a neighborhood of low income and people of color. This is just one example of what I call environmental injustice. Don't you think so? Several years ago, the Healthy Connecticut Alliance, or HCA, was founded in Bridgeport. It consists of environmental organizations, an environmental justice organization, and community leaders. We want to bring about the retirement of BHS, or Bridgeport Harbor Station, in the near future. Shut it down! And we want to work with the community to foster economic development of the harbor front property and ensure a just transition for all the workers there. I cannot stress enough that we need community involvement to make this happen. Participation in a proposed future environmental task force would be one of the ways for Bridgeport residents and residents of surrounding communities to express their concerns and partake in the city's green transition. Please join us. Thank you so much. We also want to quickly thank all the media that's here. I know of two. I'm sure there are more. One is Melinda Tuhus, thank you very much. And the other one is Stan Heller, and he is with www.thestruggle.org.
Thank you. James? Oh, good. Is it good?
Hello. I am a Bloomfield landowner, and the pipeline is going to cut through my property within striking distance of the watershed that presently provides me and my family sparkling, clean drinking water. All that will change if the pipeline comes through. But I didn't come here to talk about my problem. I want to talk about our problem. Pipelines coming through Connecticut that will rape our land, contaminate our water, and poison our air. What would possess any corporation to carry out such mass desecration? What's in it for Kinder Morgan, Spectra, and the other pipeline exploiters?
Money, money.
In a word, billions for themselves, their fat cat investors, and sadly, for the politicians. Many right here in Connecticut, using big gases, big contributions to keep the only jobs they care about, their own. Only a pliable, corrupt government abandoning the common good to serve corporate profits explains the vote of the legislature to pass the gas pipeline bill in May. That's right. What's in it for us? I just happen to have my crystal ball handy. Here's what I see. Air we cannot breathe, water we cannot drink, rivers and lakes we can no longer swim in, fish and wildlife that no longer share our space. A desolate and barren wasteland to leave to our children. We don't want that future. It's time to stand up to greed and corruption, to disrupt, stall, and overcome the evil that threatens us. It's time to say, we're mad as hell and we don't want it anymore. Let's make Connecticut the lightning rod for climate justice in the Northeast. It's already happening. Our good friends at the Sierra Club, Food and Water Watch, and a host of other climate activists have poked the sleeping bear, and the people are waking up. Everywhere you look, people are shutting down fracking wells, stopping gas pipelines. Organized people can beat organized money. Back in 1857, Frederick Douglass said, "Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has, and it never will." Let's make our demands heard in the halls of power. Tell your legislators and the governor, if they want to keep their jobs, they must listen to the people. Our first demand, what's in the ground stays in the ground. It's time our elected officials stopped the madness. Let them know we mean business. Out with the dirty fossil fuels of yesterday, in with the clean renewables of tomorrow. Thank you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are you guys doing? My name is Carla Jones. I'm a local artist and musician, and I love my city where I live, and I am a supporter of taking care of the earth that we've been given, and to be a good steward of it, and to take care of it while we're here. And so I am excited about the potential of renewable energy. It's a great way to use the resources we have the best way that we can. So I'm going to sing a song to encourage that when something is worthwhile, we should fight for it, because we should be good stewards of what we have. So, if you guys know it, you can sing too, okay? There will be mountains that I will have to climb, and there will be battles that I will have to fight. But victory or defeat, it's up to me to decide. But how can I expect to win if I never try? I just can't give up now. Come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe he's brought me this far to leave me. And never said there wouldn't be trials, never said I wouldn't fall, never said that everything would go the way I wanted to go. But when my back is against the wall and I feel our hope is gone, I just lift my head up to the sky and say, help me to be strong. Oh, I just can't give up now. I've come too far from where I started from, and nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe he's brought me this far. I don't believe he's brought me this far. I don't believe he's brought me this far to leave me.
My name is Wildelise Bermudez, and I'm a newly elected city councilwoman here in Hartford. And I am an environmentalist. I'm also on the board of the Connecticut League of Conservation Voters Environmental Education Fund, and we are having a summit that's happening on December 9th. If you want any more information on that, we hope that you can join us. It's December 9th, and it's going to be here in Hartford. So, with just one breath, we know that we can change the entire course of history. With just one breath. Many wars have been started, and many wars have been lost. the war that we're facing right now in our time is really an environmental war. It's a war that starts with climate change. And our breath is being compromised. Our breath is being corrupted and taken over by a very corporate structure that grabs on to the very existence of who we are and tries to strangle us in ways that we cannot even comprehend. We know that if we turn to what's happening internationally with our brothers and sisters in Syria, and the farmers that had to flee the mountainsides and flee to the cities because there was severe drought, and also what's happened all over in Egypt and many different countries, these farmers are not alone. And they flee so that they could actually breathe and they could provide for their families. And they flee so that they can have a better hope and a better promise for their children. And if they have to, while they are traveling and cross oceans and cross deserts so that they could survive, they do it. They sacrifice that. And what's happening now is that we see that they're not alone. We're also, all of us, are facing the same exact struggle. We understand that here in the US, more than 30% of our reliance of our agricultural system comes from California, and our foods are pretty much imported. When we talk about climate change and the severe droughts that are happening and the problems that we are facing with food shortages, this is all related, of course, to the environment and to the ways that we are altering it. So what we ask for here today, and all of us who are standing side by side, making sure that we don't have a reliance on fossil fuels, making sure that we have clean energy. And so why not start here and start home? So let's start in Connecticut.